When facing a true threat of danger within a star system, sometimes skill and courage are not enough. Sometimes the only way to truly ensure a battle is won is through the threat of overwhelming force and firepower. Few ships manage to follow through with that threat, quite like the Aegis Javelin. First announced all the way back in 2014, the Aegis Javelin is truly a massive behemoth that promises to test the organisation and communication skills of even the most impressive orgs in the verse, just to maintain and operate it. Along with its enormous size, the Javelin is bristling with weapons equipped to take out any potential threat that may stand in its way. It has been said that the Javelin will be the largest ship available for player purchase through the Pledge Store, and as such, comes at a significant premium. As described on the Star Citizen website, designed for use by the UEE military, the Javelin is a massive, modular capital ship that can be appropriated for entrepreneurial use. With a detailed interior, plenty of modular room options, and a high crew capacity, the Javelin is a ship that has made a name for itself in a variety of roles. These Javelin capital ships that will land in players' hands are anticipated to be stripped-down versions of their UEE military counterparts, having much of their military-grade hardware removed in favour of more civilian-level armament, with orgs being able to work toward making the Javelin the massive warship it was originally designed to be. Even with this in mind, the civilian variant we will have access to will still be a force to be reckoned with. When this ship finally enters the persistent universe, I anticipate it being a real event to see one up close, whether that be as an ally or especially as an enemy. Looking at some of the specifications of the Javelin, we really get to see how truly huge it is, with a length of 475 meters, a width of 210 meters, a height of 75 meters. To put that in perspective, the length of the Javelin is nearly twice that of the currently largest flyable capital ship in the game, the Aegis Idris, and it is wider than the length of the second largest capital ship in the game, the RSI Polaris. At nearly half a kilometre in length, you better hope your crew has kept up with their cardio. And that's assuming the size does not increase further during development, which is quite common. The Javelin is designed to be fully self-sufficient with minimal requirement to come back to port, except to rotate crew and occasionally rearm or refuel. As such, the Javelin is stated as having a huge 5,400 SEU cargo capacity, presumably for crew belongings and ammunition, extensive onboard medical facilities to cater to its huge crew complement, huge habitation and entertainment facilities for the crew, a hangar capable of holding a medium-sized ship such as the Vanguard. This hangar is primarily designed for boarding parties of marine teams stationed on the ship. With all of these facilities aboard, the Javelin is the ultimate patrol vessel for the largest orgs wanting to stay out in the verse for extended periods of time. Once the implementation of bedlocking on group-owned ships becomes a reality, this is where the Javelin will really come into its own and become a hive of activity for those truly huge orgs. Now let's take a look at the long list of weaponry that is stated on this ship. The main large ship killers on this Javelin consist of two separate remote turrets located on the top and bottom of the ship towards the rear. These turrets each have 4 size 9 cannons designed to shred through larger ships with ease. Along the port and starboard sides of the Javelin are 6 manned turrets, 3 along each side. These man turrets come equipped with dual size 7 laser cannons and a secondary fire function of dual size 4 ballistic cannons to take care of fighter sized craft. If all that wasn't enough, there are a further 7 manned turrets equipped with dual size 7 laser cannons. And finally, the Javelin is also outfitted with a staggering 32 size 12 torpedoes. As I've said in other areas of this video, the size and scope of the armament on the Javelin may be subject to change, especially when you consider the upsizing of weapons on other ships such as the Perseus and Idris that have happened recently. Regardless of whether the weapons increase in size or not, it's easy to see how the Javelin will be a force to be reckoned with during any engagement. Taking a look at the internals of the ship, we start to get a sense of how truly vast it is. The Javelin is split across multiple decks, creating a network of corridors for crew to navigate to keep the ship running at all times. Starting at the top, we have the bridge, which will of course contain the main piloting stations, as well as potentially stations to access those two huge remote turrets we see on the top and bottom of the Javelin. Moving down a level, we have the top deck, which is the home to the captain's and XO's quarters, along with 6 modular rooms which can presumably be swapped out for different purposes and functions. There is also access to the main airlock for the ship, the hangar upper deck, and also the cargo lift. Another level down to the mid deck, and this is where the main bulk of the crew will be spending their time. The mid deck is where turret gunners will be able to access those 6 dual function manned turrets along the side of the Javelin. This deck will also be the home to the Javelin's medical facilities, torpedo bays, main hangar landing pad, as well as the main crew quarters and facilities. The bottom deck is the home to the main engineering rooms alongside 4 modular component bays and several additional cargo rooms. Finally, we have the subdecks 1 and 2. These subdecks provide an EVA airlock for ship maintenance by crew members, and finally access to many of the remaining manned belly turrets. This capital ship is going to be truly enormous, and I wouldn't be surprised if crew members manage to spend an entire gameplay session without ever seeing each other as they man turrets and maintain the ship across the engineering functions. The current maximum crew capacity of the Javelin is listed on the RSI website as 65, however I have seen mentions of around 80 members of crew. I wouldn't even want to begin to speculate what the minimum crew for this ship would be, but a realistic crew I imagine we will see could be roughly 16 people, consisting of 1 pilot and 15 people to man all 15 of the ship's turrets. That's not taking into account the torpedo bays, and I dread to think how hard to maintain this ship will be once we have the full implementation of engineering. So what do I see as the potential uses of the Javelin? A use I expect to see much further into the future is player org space station defense, both as an actual combat ship, but also as a deterrent to any would-be attackers just by its mere presence. With its ability to stay away from base for extended periods of time, some orgs may well adopt the ship as a mobile base in itself, rather than investing the time and resources into a space station. Fleet escort or central command ship to a combat fleet seems like a logical use for a ship of this size, especially with its capabilities to be the main damage dealer within a fleet. High-value cargo transport services could be an excellent use for that huge cargo capacity. This isn't scrap hauling. If you have 5,000 SEU Quantanium you want to move from your org, you probably don't want to strap it to the outside of a hull series. Whatever uses players manage to come up with for this ship, I'm truly excited to see a ship of this scale make it into the verse. While it may be too much for an org the size of mine at the moment, I can't wait to see larger orgs put this monster to good use and hear the stories that come out of it. So when can we expect to see the Javelin in game? The Javelin is slated to release after the release of Squadron 42, Star Citizen's single-player game. Though we have not been given any indication of how long after the release of Squadron 42 that will be. With Squadron 42 releasing sometime in 2026, there's a very slim chance that we may see the Javelin that year, though I anticipate it probably being 2027. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the Javelin. What other uses can you come up with for it? If your org members have one, what do you plan to use it for? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, if you found yourself enjoying the video or found it useful, consider subscribing for more Star Citizen content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.